Hi, this is Bob at Hobby Concepts, and today I'm going to do combined brake light tail lights set up with the SFR. Now, there's two ways you can do this. One is a combined brake light tail light with a separate turn signal, which would be kind of the normal way we would set up a truck. Or if you're really desperate and only have two LEDs in the back of your truck, you can do a combined brake light tail light turn signal. So I'll show both ways. It's pretty easy to do, no big trick, and I think you'll see from this it's something, yeah, I can handle that, and you can set up the rear of your truck however you like, which is really kind of cool. So let's get started. So today we're going to look at combined rear lights. Now, combined rear lights would be where you have a tail light that acts as both a brake light and a running light, or rear headlight, whatever you want to call it. So when you turn your headlights on, the light's on. When you turn your brakes on, it gets brighter. And that's a pretty typical thing we use in these trucks. For example, a king hauler only has place for a turn signal and a brake light, and the brake light has to also be your rear marker light. So we're going to show how to do that. Now, I've struggled with the best way to show this. Some people suggested maybe doing a direct screen transfer to YouTube, which doesn't quite work because I want to have the light here so you can see what we're doing. So I'll try to get the best angle I can to show this and show you the programming and show you the functions on the radio. So I might be switching back and forth, but guys, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm going to take my time and explain this because it's a function you use on virtually every truck. Okay, so here's our Sound Teacher software. So let's set up the lighting. Now you can see I have a 5mm LED hooked up here. So we're going to go to Configuration. We're going to go to Outputs. Okay, then under Output Type, I have my LED hooked to output 1, so we're going to use the drop down arrow here. And we're going to go down all the way to the bottom here, and it says Combined Rear Light right there. So we're going to click Combined Rear Light, and we're going to click OK. So now we have that combined rear light in output 1. Now we have to figure out how to activate it. Now the brakes activate automatically. We're going to go to our prop channels here. We're going to go to prop 3, and we're going to do the short in position. Now, the functions that work it are rear fog light, parking light, and your brakes. So we're going to click parking light and click OK. Now we're going to go back here to outputs, and we're going to look and see. There's now, under combined rear light, there's option 1 and option 2, and then there's the intensity. So the intensity is what the light bulb is, the LED is turned on to when the parking lights are on. So we're going to put 20%, and then we have our intensity for our brake light and our intensity for our rear fog light. And you can adjust these to whatever you want, but they combine. So in other words, 20, 40, and 30, so that's 90% intensity when all three of them are turned on. So you don't really want to exceed 100%. We're going to transfer our project data. And you can play with those and see what your lighting does, but we'll transfer the project data. I'll turn my radio on here, and I'm just going to do a quick test. So now you can see my light's back on, and when I go forward, the light's off, and when I stop, my brake lights are on. When I turn on my parking light, going forward, I now have a light, and when I stop, it goes brighter. Okay, that's the main effect we want to get. So we want to be able to have our rear light turn on and off, and we want our brake light to operate. That's it. It's pretty darn simple. I'm going to zoom back out and just show you the controls we used, but basically on the prop channel, I just use short in position parking light. So now if I want to add, I've still got my parking lights, my brake light, but if I want to add my rear fog lights, I can go up here and I can click rear fog light, click OK, transfer the project data. So now what I'm going to have is even a dual rate of parking light. So I'm going to get the brakes off. There's my parking lights. There's my rear fog lights. Now I still have my brake, and I can combine the parking lights also. So see how it even got brighter? So parking lights off, rear fog lights off, and the brakes on. Or I can combine it and the brakes on. Works really good. It's really pretty easy to set up, and you don't have to use a lot of channels to do it. Normally I don't even use the rear fog light. I just use the parking light, and it gives me a nice braking effect with the lights on or the lights off. So I'm going to zoom out and just show you the transmitter. So here's the transmitter. There's my light. Of course I go forward and the light goes off. Brakes, the lights are on, and I have the brakes set so they stay on when the throttle's off, which would be the normal way brakes would work. You take your foot off the gas, you put them on the brake, you're stopped at a stoplight, your brakes are on, you go. So I can turn the brake lights off, turn on my rear fog lights, brakes get brighter, turn off my rear fog lights. 3 seconds are going to give me my rear fog lights, brakes are brighter, turn on the other one, brakes are brighter, turn them both off, and the brakes go on. So pretty straightforward operation to get the brake lights. Now that's the way you're going to do it on most trucks, because they're going to have a combination brake tail light and then a separate turn signal bulb. Well, what if you don't have that? Okay, there's another option, and we're going to take a look at that. Okay, so we looked at how to do a combined brake and tail light. What if you want to have a combined brake, tail light, and turn signal? For example, you got a dump truck. It's only got one bulb on each side. How do we handle that? Okay, the SFR can handle that pretty easily. I don't normally use this a lot because I like to have a lot of lights in the back of my truck, but hey, if you only got room for a couple, you can do this. So we're going to go to configuration, we're going to go to outputs, we're going to go back to output 1, and we're going to go down here where it says combined American rear light left. Okay, so in this one, and we're going to click OK. In this one you'd actually have to put a left and then do a right separately, but other than that it hooks up the same way. We'll go back over here to our prop channel, and we're going to set our parking lights again. Parking light. Alright, and then we'll go back to the output, and it's set 100. We're going to set it to 10% for our parking light, rear tail light, 100% for the brake, and 50% for the turns. Now you can adjust these to however you like. We'll transfer the project data, and we'll take a look at it after we come back up. Okay, our lights are back up, so our brake lights, they work just like before. I can turn on the parking light, headlight, whatever you want to call it, and now we still have our headlight and our brake light. Turn that off, or turn signal. Cool. And if I turn my parking light on, it still works, or off. Super easy to set up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to zoom out on the radio so you can see it. But the only difference here is you combined American rear light left, and then you would do the same thing on the right, set the same intensities, and you've got your combined lights. So let me zoom out and we'll look at this. You can see my bulb here still. So it's my brake light. Turn on my marker lights or turn signal. Works whether the brakes are on or off, it doesn't make any difference. If we had the other side set up, you would have your brake light on solid, and yeah, works really good. Turn that off. That's it. That's how to set up combined tail lights. Now you could have separate tail lights and brake lights. You could have combined tail lights and brake lights, or you can have combined tail lights, brake lights, and turn signals. And that's how you set those up with the SFR. It's pretty straightforward, and no matter what kind of lighting you have in the back of your truck, you can handle it with this system. So I know you've been waiting for this video on how to do that. It's probably the last really important lighting function. I'm going to do one more lighting function before we move into sounds, and that is what they call the light switch function, where if you're running out of channels on your radio, you can do a whole bunch of effects with one stick. So we'll take a look at that in our next video, and then I'm going to go to how to start doing custom sounds, ripping songs, making your own sounds, that kind of thing. So there you go. Beier Masterclass. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.